What if I told you that you don't need 100 videos to start getting clients from YouTube? You don't need 50, you don't even need 20. I'm going to show you the exact 5 video types that generate real buyer leads, not just views, not just subscribers, actual people who call you and say, I found you on YouTube, I want to buy a house. And I'm also going to tell you which videos are a complete waste of time because I see people do these all the time and then they wonder why their phone isn't ringing. If you're new here, I'm Karin Carr. I've been a real estate agent for 20 years now. And about 8 years ago, I moved to a brand new town in Georgia where I knew absolutely no one except my mom and dad. I had no sphere, no referrals, no business. So I started a YouTube channel, and that channel became my entire business. I built a team of 8 agents, and together we've sold more than $75 million worth of properties in just a few years, almost all of it sourced from YouTube. I now have over 17,000 subscribers and 1.6 million views, and I still get clients from it every single month. Now, I'm not telling you that to brag, although, come on, it is kind of brag-worthy, right? I'm telling you that because what I'm about to share with you is not theory. This is exactly what I did and what I still do today. Stay through the whole video because at the end, I'm going to share a framework to help you turn viewers into actual clients. And this is the part that agents skip entirely, but this is the part that puts money in your bank account. Video type number 1 is the neighborhood tour. This is the single most powerful video type for most real estate agents. And it's the one that everybody skips because it's not very sexy or they're doing it totally wrong. Here's why it works. When someone is thinking about moving to your area, what do they Google? They're looking for the names of the neighborhoods, the towns, the cost of living. Those searches have something that most real estate content doesn't have: buyer intent. Someone watching a neighborhood tour isn't just watching it because they have nothing better to do. They are actively researching where they want to live. That person is a potential client. Now, here's the trick that almost everybody misses. You don't title the video "Beautiful Homes in Oakwood Estates." You title it in a way that the buyer would actually search for it online. Moving to Savannah? Here's what you need to know about Oakwood Estates. Or living in Oakwood Estates, the good, the bad, and the ugly. That's the local SEO piece. You're matching the exact words that people are typing into Google and YouTube. And because most people aren't doing this, you can easily rank on the first page of Google and on YouTube for these searches with relatively little competition. I'm not exaggerating. In most small to mid-sized markets, there are maybe 2 or 3 agents making these kind of videos, sometimes 0. The opportunity is wide open. And if you're in a large market and maybe you've got a bunch of people that you're competing against, are they making that type of video? Probably not. Now, that's very different from someone Googling best realtor in the name of the city and a bunch of ads pop up and the competition is incredibly high. This is local SEO, organic, and it's easy. So your first video should be a neighborhood tour. Pick a neighborhood where you do the most business, or you know it the best, or it has a lot of turnover, so there's going to be plenty of opportunity for you to get some business in this neighborhood. And then do a 10 to 15 minute tour. Drive through it, get out and walk around, show the pool, the clubhouse, the amenities, the park, talk about the schools that are closest to the neighborhood, where the grocery store is, where the freeway entrance is, the price range, the HOA fees, what's included, the general vibe. Talk about the type of lifestyle in that community so that the person watching the video can determine if it would be suitable for them. For example, if mostly seniors live in this neighborhood, it's probably not going to be ideal for a first-time buyer, maybe in their late 20s with small kids. They're not going to want to live there. But we can't say that because of fair housing laws, right? So instead, we're going to describe the lifestyle, the vibe of the neighborhood, and we'll let them draw their own conclusions. They will put 2 and 2 together without you having to say anything at all. And you don't get in trouble. Be honest, too. If the HOA is very strict, say so. If the roads always flood when it rains, mention it. If the commute to downtown is a nightmare, say so. This type of honesty builds trust. A viewer watching this video is comparing you to every other real estate agent in your market, and you are the only one who told them the truth. I have neighborhood tour videos that are 8 years old, and they still get views and get leads every single month. They compound over time. One video keeps working for you while you're sleeping, while you're on vacation, while you're at the closing table with someone else. This is the power of this format. Video type number 2 is the cost of living video. This is the second video I would film if I were starting over today. People who are relocating to the area don't just want to see individual houses. They want to know what it's actually going to cost to live somewhere before they even start looking at individual houses. You're going to cover the median home prices, therefore what the typical mortgage payment would be, property taxes, utilities, groceries, gas, insurance, all of the things, anything that is specific to your area. Don't say it's affordable. Give actual example numbers. For example, the median home price in Savannah right now is X number of dollars. Property taxes are roughly X percent, so that on that median home, you're looking at roughly this much a month, this much a year. What does the homeowner's insurance cover? Do they have to also get flood insurance if they're in a hurricane zone? This level of detail makes people trust you immediately. You're not just giving them a sales pitch. You're giving them the information that they need in order to make a life decision. And guess what the next step is after they watch this video? They need to find an agent. And you are the person that just helped them navigate the finances. So you are probably going to be the person that they trusted the most and would therefore call. And the same SEO principle applies to this as well. The cost of living in Savannah in 2026, you're probably going to rank for that search term. Most agents are not making this video. It is wide open in almost every single market. Now, here's a bonus tip for this one. Update it every year or two. Prices change, tax rates change, interest rates change. Film a new one every January and you'll always have fresh content. Now you have a current version that ranks, but the old video can rank as well. And now you're getting views from each. Video type number 3 is the pros and cons of living in your city. This one performs so well for the same reason that the cost of living video does. It targets people who are in the decision-making phase. They're not casually browsing. They're actively trying to decide if your area is right for them. The key here again is honesty. Don't make a tourism commercial. If the traffic is tough, say so. If the summers are brutally hot, say so. If the nighttime is limited, say so. When I made this pros and cons video about living in Savannah, I talked about hurricanes, I talked about humidity, I talked about cockroaches, aka palmetto bugs, I talked about alligators. I told them things that they may not want to hear, and then I told them how we deal with those things and what the solutions are. And here's why this honesty works so well. When you're upfront about the downsides, everything else you say becomes even more believable. If I tell you the weather here is just perfect, the food is amazing, we never have any traffic, they're going to tune out because they know that I'm trying to sell them. No area is perfect. But if I tell you, look, the humidity in August is rough. The mosquitoes are no joke, but it's only for 2 months of the year, and the other 10 months are amazing. And this is why 150,000 people moved here in the last 5 years anyway. Now you trust me. Now I am a credible source of information, not a salesperson. I cannot tell you how many clients I've gotten over the years who said, I watched your video about whatever, and I appreciated how honest you were, and you weren't just trying to blow sunshine up my skirt. They specifically said that the reason they asked me to represent them in the transaction was because I gave it to them straight. You can even use this format for the specific neighborhoods, the pros and cons of living in neighborhood name. Each one is a separate video. Each one ranks for a specific search term. Each one can bring you a different pool of potential clients. Video type number 4 is the Your City housing market update. Now, I know what you're thinking. Karin, everybody does market update videos, and you're right, and they are so boring because everybody does them wrong. Here's what most people do. They pull up the NAR statistics. They go to a presentation by Lawrence Yun, the national economist, who is amazing, but he gives data for the whole country. Or they pull up something that they saw in the New York Times or on Redfin or on Zillow, and then they talk about that. Or maybe they get some information from RPR or from their local MLS, but it goes very, very heavy into statistics and number and terms like market absorption rate, which the general consumer does not understand. So here's what works instead. We're going to make it hyper local, not the housing market is shifting. Instead, the your city housing market in April of 2026, here's what actually going on right now. And then we're going to mention specific zip codes, specific towns, even neighborhoods. You can talk about the inventory levels, how long it's taking for things to sell. Talk about what you're seeing on the ground with real sellers and real buyers that you're working with. Give them examples. If you're putting your house on the market soon, here is what I am seeing with my sellers right now and how long it's taking to get offers on their home and go under contract. You're giving them very specific real-world data, and that is useful. And it positions you as a local expert in the market, not just someone who reads articles and memorizes data. The national data is easy to find, but what buyers and sellers want to know is, what does this mean for me in my city, in my price range, whether I am buying or selling? And you are the only one who can answer that for them. So do this. I would say no more often than every month. Our market does not change every single week. You don't need to do a weekly market update, but once a month or even once a quarter would be terrific. So it's not a heavy lift. It keeps your channel active with fresh content that actually matters to people who are actively thinking about buying or selling. Plus, when the market changes, you've got this library of videos showing your expertise and your consistency over time. Video number 5, how to buy a home in your city walkthrough. This is your evergreen client magnet. Someone who searches this is telling you with their search that they are ready to start this process. They are looking for guidance, and you are the one who shows up in the search results. Walk through the entire process step by step. Talk about getting pre-approved. How do you choose the agent to represent you? How is it that we get paid? House hunting, making the offer and negotiating and inspections and the appraisal. Keep it specific to your state and your local market. You can talk about down payment assistance options if you want to. Mention any quirks of your market that they should know about. If your state requires that they have their own real estate attorney, mention it. If the home is in a flood zone and it will also require flood insurance on top of homeowners insurance, tell them about that. This video will be longer. It might be 15 or 20 minutes long, and that is fine. Someone who watches a 15 or 20 minute long video about how to buy a house in your town, that is not a casual viewer. That is someone who is actively planning to purchase a property, and they are exactly who you want to reach. And here's the thing. Once that video exists, it works forever. I have videos like this that are 3, 5, 7, 8 years old, and they still generate leads. The fundamentals don't really change that much from year to year. The house price, the interest rate, those things change, but the pre-approval process and inspections, it typically doesn't change that much year to year. You can always film an updated video if something major happens, but this is definitely an evergreen topic. Now let's talk about what not to post. These are total time wasters, and I want to save you a lot of time and frustration. These are the videos I see all the time that generate basically zero business. Day in the life vlogs. No one is going to hire you because they watched you drink coffee at 6 o'clock and do paperwork and then pound a for sale sign into somebody's front yard. Other agents might watch this, but buyers and sellers couldn't care less. General commentary about real estate with no local angle. If your video can apply to any city in America, it's not specific enough to convert anyone into a lead. A buyer in Phoenix does not care about flood insurance because they live on Tybee Island. They care about what's happening in Phoenix. Listing tours over and over and over again on your channel. Here's my hot take on this. unless it is a truly remarkable property. A virtual tour of 123 Main Street is not going to bring you clients. The purpose of that video is to show the seller that you're actively marketing their house, trying to get it in front of as many people as possible, and get more potential listings because they are so impressed with your marketing skills. But they don't typically get tons of calls from potential buyers. So don't rely on listing tours for getting leads from your channel. Instead, consider it social proof when you go on a listing presentation and you can show them what you do to market their properties. And the worst kind is when you're talking to other agents. If your target audience is either buyers, sellers, investors, making content to attract other agents to your brokerage is pointing your camera in the wrong direction. Agent-to-agent content builds a following of agents, not clients. You will train the algorithm that the ideal viewer for your channel is a real estate agent. So don't do that. Save yourself months and months of spinning your wheels. Film the 5 types of videos that we just covered and skip everything else until those are very well established. Now, if you're an agent who's been thinking about YouTube, but you really haven't started, or you've been doing it for a while, but you're not getting any clients from it yet, now you've got a plan, but I'm going to be running a live group starting in early May where I coach you through all of this personally. There are only 15 seats available, and I kept it small on purpose because I want to look at your channel, your videos, your market specifically. I don't want to give you generic advice. I want to do your videos, your titles, your strategy. So the link is in the description if you want all of the details. But hurry, because we're closing the door once we hit that 15th person, and we start soon. If you found this helpful, please hit the subscribe button. I put out new videos every single week for real estate agents, and I'll see you on the next one.